Good morning, folks. Welcome to Half and Half this morning. It is sunny and I think it's supposed to be like 42 today. And I can hear my parents saying like, "Ooh, that sounds cold." But in Madison, Wisconsin, in Blue Mountains, that is warm. Uh, and especially with that sun out. So there's lots of snow outside this week. Next week, maybe not. The sun is going to come in and melt it. So yeah, we're having a nice warm spring day. Spring in the north is so different than spring in the south. So I have a strap. I have a chair. And let's start in sitting up on your sits bones, a little bit towards the forward edge of your sits bones. Ribs like Venetian blinds. We take the Venetian blinds and we fold them down so the front ribs fold down, but also the back ribs like kind of float up, right? Like they were blinds. So we find that feeling in the ribs. And we do a little bit of turning the head side to side. And today, maybe just looking around a little bit. So side to side is fine if that feels nice to you. And joints don't necessarily, like they're not necessarily designed for square, like to always be square, side, up, down, whatever that is, right? They're designed to be kind of circular because that's how you might organize when you're looking around. So you might play with sort of a figure eight or just a random pattern of letting your neck move. Maybe you can just sort of feel like, oh, that's a really nice position. I like that one. Just kind of follow what it feels like in your neck to stay easy, not crunchy, relaxed, floating around, seeing what's in front of you. And then arriving back in center. And then let's use your vision a little bit, in a little more linear way, looking along the horizon over to the right and feeling how your ribs can follow. And you let your torso twist a little bit. You can draw your right elbow back a little bit and then bring it all back to center. Try leading it from your vision, right? Your spine's going to move, but you're just seeing what's around the corner. And at the same time, feeling it sequence through your neck, your ribs, down into the lower ribs, and then maybe the arm draws back a little and back to center. We'll take that a couple times. Eyes follow your horizon, looking around the corner. Can you see everything all the way around? Maybe your peripheral vision can even see directly behind you when you get twisted. It's not the exorcist. Your head can't look directly behind you, but maybe your peripheral vision can see that space that's directly behind you. And back to center. We're going to do a little more with the spine. Head over to the right. This time lateral flexion is what this is called. You might call it side bending. Sequencing through the spine. And back to center. Ribs fold down in the front, float up in the back. Head, neck, ribs. Pelvis stays in place. More of those each side. You could play with your vision here too. What all do you see? As you shift. Maybe you see a kitten playing in your peripheral vision. Or maybe you see it directly in front of you on the screen in front of you. There's a kitten playing. All right, we're going to get the strap. Still sitting. Let's take our rotator cuff movement. Elbows into your side, thumb looped over the towel or the strap. Not too high. Right? Just let it be right in line with your elbows. Pulling out. Let it go. Pulling out. Let it go. Little bit of tension that feeds into your rotator cuff Your rotator cuff being the upper back of the shoulder. The muscles between your shoulder blades and your arm, and connect those two things. As you pull out, you find that moment of tension. Maybe you feel those muscles, maybe you feel your triceps. Can you feel your chest relax and your collarbones be broad? So shoulder blades broad and collarbones broad, both. If you go too far, one of those things is going to pinch. Either your shoulder blades are going to pinch or your collarbones are going to pinch. What's the place where they both get broad? Next time you're going to pull out, you're going to hold that just at that point of tension. Don't go crazy with it. Just touch those feelings. Now let's take a few breaths. What's it like to let your breath move through your ribs? And then imagery is always useful. So what if you were to breathe in something really pleasant? Chocolate chip cookies comes to mind for me, but also like just a good fresh air, like you step outside and you get that nice fresh air smell. Imagine just kind of a pleasant smell as you breathe and see what that's like. And then release that. Now let's put those together. Find your rhythm. So inhale, do the pull, and then exhale, let it go. And inhale, find the rotator cuff pull, and exhale, let it go. Next time we're going to find the pull, change the movement a little. Exhale, floating up. Elbows keep floating in. Inhale, lower down. Exhale up. Elbows are going to want to get wider. Try to keep them in line with your shoulders, which will mean they feel like they're kind of pulling in a little. One more thing we'll add in. Exhale, come up. Hold the elbows in place with your shoulders. Wide collarbones, wide shoulder blades. Leave your elbows exactly where they are and start to open. Serve your towel out to somebody and then back in. So again, elbows kind of want to split out or they want to drop. So if you're really attentive and keep your upper arm exactly where it is, there's a lot of funky little things that happen in your body. If you think of the ribs drawing together, if you keep checking in with the collarbones, if you keep noticing your neck, one thing I feel is my forearms. So if I really keep that palm up, it gives me some feedback into my forearms. One more. And then lowering down. All right, we're going to take slightly wider than shoulder distance, arms in line, parallel to the floor, knuckles forward, ribs, blinds fold down, back opens, all that stuff. Do a little pull, like you get your your rotator cuff. Just talking about too many things. And then float the shoulders up, float them back down. Good. Arms and shoulders float up as the ribs fold down in the front. Breathe in your pleasant smell. One more time. Take the arms up, hold them there. Let's do a little shrug in the shoulders. Float up. Don't push down, just float down. So a little effort to bring it up, to come down, just like a napkin falling to the floor, right? Like sheets, like or a tablecloth. You kind of flip it up and then it just floats down. That's what you do with the shoulders. You don't have to pull them down. You just let them float. One more time up. This time as you let the shoulders come down, take the arms forward. All right, leave your arms there. Draw your heels back a little bit. Heels are on the floor. Ankles are released. Shift your weight a little forward on the diagonal. And as you come up to standing, reach your arms up overhead. And then find that feeling above overhead. Let's take your squat down. And then back up. Take your arms down. And then take your squat down. And as you come up, take your arms up. So it changes each time. Squatting, arms forward. Squatting, maybe you tap your chair, maybe you don't. Arms come up. Knees go forward, heels stay down, ankles release. And one more time. And lower everything down. All right, I'm going to take the chair off. I'm going to keep the strap. We'll stand feet parallel here. Work our way into a little balance work right away. So we have our 8 pulls, finding the rotator cuff. Inhale, exhale. Can you relax your nasal passages? How about that for a cue? Like, not like a, right? But just a easy breath in. Nasal passages relax and the breath just flows in. 2 more. One more time, pull and hold. Knees bend, arms go to shoulder height. And exhale, lower. Inhale up. Exhale. Nice soft ankles as you bend. Heels keep dropping. One more time up. And release. Rotator cuff, triceps. Exhale. Wide collarbones, wide shoulder blades. Relaxed nasal passages. 2 more. Hold that tension, bend your knees, left heel comes up, back to both feet. Shoulder girdle rises up, lowers back down. Ribs fold down. One more each side. And little pulls out. Inhale, exhale. So as your rib lines fold down in the front, that's why your shoulder girdle needs to lift, right? Something's got to lift. If it's not your chest, it needs to be the collarbones and the shoulder blades. Feel how the shoulder blades glide up the back. Neck can stay relaxed. Last time, pull out and hold. Bend your knees, and then that full balance as your shoulder blades draw together and apart. Together and apart. And reach and down. Keep your breath moving, whatever rhythm feels natural. Last one. And relax. Take a little head movement, whatever feels nice. Strap goes away. What's your new way to the floor? I'm going to roll down And find my way back onto my back. And I'm going to do a nice roll down to get to my back. I always like a good spinal articulation. Now, let's take your arms up to the ceiling. Find a sense of wide collarbones and wide shoulder blades. Caveat here, right? A lot of times when you think wide collarbones and wide shoulder blades and you're on the floor, you become really square and you drop the shoulders down towards the mat. You, me, all of us. This is what tends to happen, and it sort of feels like this is it. Your rib cage is round, so your shoulder blades are making an outer circle. Your collarbones are making an inner circle. So maybe think a little more like there's width, but there's still concentric circles, right? So maybe the collarbones are a little narrower than the shoulder blades in this position. If we change position, that might be different. But really think of that circular sense of the rib cage. So there's width in both, but they might not measure exactly the same, right? It's two arcs that we're looking at. All right, now turn your palms so they face your thighs. And as you come up, lifting your, oh wait, no, don't do it yet. I was about to lift my head into the 100. We're going to wait on that. As you lower your arms down, just see if you can keep that sense of wide back, wide front in a circular sort of arched manner in the collarbones. Now, let's take our one leg up, second leg up. We've got our head down 100 position, and then nice, easy breath. Inhale 5. And use the breath imagery that's nice for you. Maybe you like that relaxed nasal passage imagery. Maybe you like to breathe in a scent. Maybe there's actually a nice scent in your house that you're breathing in. You don't have to imagine it. And then if you like, head floats up, really feeling that round sense of width. 3 more. Last one. Lower your head, reach your left leg straight out with the foot flexed. Bring your right leg in, hold the back of your leg. All right, same thing here. So elbows are wide, shoulders aren't pressed down into the mat, right? So if I bring my elbows in, my shoulders tend to press into the mat. Feel if you take your elbows out a little, makes your shoulder blades feel a little rounder. And only to the point where you also have that nice concentric arc with the collarbones. They're also round and wide. And let's go inhale and reach up. Flex your foot. Exhale. Take it back down. Nice, easy breath. Taking the leg up, leave it there. Hands come away. Now your choice. Arms up to the ceiling. Arms in kind of that 100 position we've worked on where they hover off the floor. Or hands on the floor right next to you. I'm going to go arms up to the ceiling just because I'm going to work that concentric arc feeling. And we do leg circles. Inhale across, exhale. Ribs keep folding down in the front. And reverse it. Left leg is your standing leg. If you were doing this standing up, you'd be balancing on that left leg. Feel the energy as if you had to balance on your left leg. Last one. Right leg goes down, left leg comes in, grab behind the thigh, find your elbow position, try the pulled in position, feel what that's like. Slowly float the elbows out, and then inhale, reach up, flex your foot, exhale down. Easy breath. And moving the leg up, try an arm position of your choice. 5 leg circles, reaching across first, over to the right. Exhale around and up. Inhale, exhale up. Solid right foot, right? It's not turning out and in. It's not shifting or bending in the knee. It's like you're standing on your right leg. Same thing in reverse. Inhale, exhale, cross and up. How's your breath? Last one. Bending your knee. Now, find your transition up to sitting. I'm going to hold my leg. I'm going to roll up to sitting, pressing my leg forward. But maybe you like a different one. Maybe both knees into your chest, maybe rolling onto your side. We're going to come over onto hands and knees. All right, now, if you were like me and had your arms reaching up to the ceiling on your back, or even if you weren't, you did that a little earlier, we did that all together. You can use that same feeling here now that you're on your hands and knees, right? So I want wide shoulder blades. I want wide collarbones. But also there is a sense of softness in my chest. There is that sense that the rib cage is round and they form around the rib cage in these concentric arcs. So find that feeling. Let my elbows be a little soft. Try to spread the palms of the hands out. And then maybe there's a little bit of that arm work we did with the strap available to you. Left arm, right leg, reaching out and a little bit off the floor. All the way back in, both hands and knees. Take a moment. Reset. Right arm, left leg reaching out and a little bit off the floor. Bring it in. Reset. So as much as you can, you're keeping your torso steady as your arm and leg moves. But if you're very attuned to subtleties, and I know many of you are, you're going to feel a slight difference every time you get to all fours. It's going to feel a little different. So you just take a moment, find that, and then try to keep it pretty stable as the other arm and leg comes off. Then you come back to all fours and you find a little different feeling. It's the transfer of weight, basically. You're taking a moment to feel the transfer of weight from one opposite arm and leg pattern to the other. Let's do one more each side. And then resting, kind of coming off your hands, however you like to do that. I like to do a little bit of a child's pose, but you can do it however works for you. We're going to go into our plank. So again, options to do what we just did. if you have difficulty in your wrist, to go to your forearms or to make fist in your hands and knees position, or all the way up on your hands, right? If your wrists feel pretty strong and steady, all the way up on your hands. So same thing, no matter what your position is, finding your collarbone shoulder blade feeling, finding your abdominal strength, finding your arm strength. We take the right foot back to your plank. Hands, right foot, all really connected and pressing into the floor. The left foot floats. And you find your plank. Couple breaths. How's your neck? Hopefully not hanging all the way down, but in line with the rest of your spine. First knee comes in, second knee comes in. Little shift back to take the weight off. Little shift forward. Set it up. Take the left foot back. Right foot floats back. Easy breath. Left foot comes in. Right foot comes in. Moment off your wrist. We're going to do it one more time. We're going to add an optional elbow bends. I'm not going to call it a push-up. I'm going to call it an elbow bend because I think it's quite interesting to work with a small movement, especially with all that strap work because we feel more of those muscles. So not necessarily trying to get a big old push-up, but just a little bit of elbow bend and straighten 3 times if you want, or 3 breaths in plank. Here we go. First foot back, second foot back, and then exhale, little bend. Inhale, press up. Exhale, bend. First leg down, second leg down. Ready for the other side. First leg back, second leg back. 3 breaths might include an elbow bend on the exhale and a press on the inhale. First knee down, second knee down, resting back. All right, folks, that is my time. Scott is not focused on the cat right now. It's very unusual. He's actually focused on getting ready to go and teach. So that's pretty good news.
Good morning, everybody. So really good to be here with you all. So as we typically do, let's start off a little bit of sumo and then continue that trajectory talking about rotator cuff through the lens, through the perspective of yoga. So the sumo, if you recall, is step your feet wide apart. And then from your hip sockets, turn your legs outward a bit. And then exhale, bend. Ankles bend, knees bend, hips bend. And then inhale, come on up. Now, in terms of hip bending, that's distinctly different than folding from your waist. So keeping that length from your tailbone to the crown of your head as you come up, and keeping that length as you go down. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Let's pause here and triple flex. And then we're going to work a combination of pelvic floor muscles, good for the urinary tract. as well as the muscle to support healthy arches. To do so, lift both heels up a couple inches. Then keep that right heel lifted where it is. And slowly over a count of 5, descend that left heel down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch, lift. Keep that left heel lifted. Slowly over a count of 5, descend that right heel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch, lift. And now descend both heels down over a count of 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact. Come up and then step both feet together. So now to help place the shoulder blades, we're going to do a closed kinetic chain. You can close the kinetic chain either by bringing your hands to your hips or a little bit more effectively, bring your hands to prayer position. And if you recall that imagery, to create breadth across your collarbones without sacrificing breadth across your upper back. So find that optimization. Breadth across your upper back, plenty of room for the breath, and breadth across your collarbones, plenty of space for the breath. Now, keeping that spaciousness for the breath, step your feet apart. From your hips, turn your feet out. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straight. Exhale. Inhale. And then next time in that triple flex position, pause there. And see if you can keep your shoulder blades snug up against your back. Space for the breath in the front of your ribs, space for the breath in the back of your ribs. As you first release your hands, then reach your arms back, palms facing up. And keeping that space for your breathing, lift both heels up. And then slowly over a count of 5, descend both heels down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact. Feel your feet on the floor, heels, balls of the feet, toes. Press your feet down to come up and back to standing. Few deeper breaths. So let's do a little isolated work with the arms. Start by bringing your right hand onto your hip, sort of as a placeholder. Then bring your left arm forward, a little bit of a bend. Very similar to what you did with Colette a little bit earlier. Bring that elbow in. Remember how you did that with the strap? And that generates what's called external rotation in the arm. And see if you can maintain that external rotation as you take your arm up. And then back down, left hand on your hip, right arm forward. Elbow tends to go out toward the side. Bring it midline. See if you can maintain that particular arm rotation you just did as you take your arm up. Not easy to do, is it? It's become because some muscles are tight and some muscles could be stronger. And then bring that arm down. All right, now let's put this into practice. Step your feet wide apart. Turn your left foot in, right foot out. Exhale, bend. Pause there for the in-breath. Exhale, tip. Hand to knee, hand to hip. Take a moment to settle into the diagonal body position. Then bring your upper arm forward and externally rotate that arm. Remember what we just did in standing? Same arm positioning here. And sweep that arm through and take a little peek at the ceiling. And then come on up, back to the front. Second side. Right foot in, left foot out. Exhale, bend. Inhale. Exhale, tip. And take a moment to settle into the diagonal. Then bring that upper arm forward. Reassert the arm's rotation, palm faces down, and then keeping that arm external rotation as you sweep it through. Keep that external rotation in the arm as you do a little pivot to look up at the ceiling. And come on up, back to the front. First side again. Left foot in, right foot out. Exhale, bend. Exhale, tip. Bring that left arm forward. External rotation of what we've covered now a few different times. And keep that rotation as you sweep the arm through. Now, one of the qualities of that rotation is it creates space in the upper back. Direct your inhales into your upper back. And keep that space in your upper back as you turn. Inhale up, back to the front. Second side. Exhale, bend. Pause for the in-breath. Exhale, tip. Right arm forward, palm faces the floor. External arm rotation. Keep that rotation, not easy, but this helps tone the rotator cuff. Also create space in the upper back where a lot of people are stiff. Breathe into your upper back as you turn. Inhale up. Exhale back to the front and step your feet together. So in standing, see if you can find that balance where there's a sense of spaciousness across your collarbones. Now, if that's all that we focus on, then the upper back tends to get pinched. So balance creating space in the front with preserving space in the back. So often in posture, we take one step forward, and at best we take one step back. More often we take one step forward and 2 or 3 steps back. So knitting the ribs as you lift your head. One step forward, second step forward. Open your chest without constricting your back. Third step forward, fourth step forward. Now, bring your arms forward, palms face each other. Remember that external arm rotation? Now with the next exhale, see if you can maintain that arm rotation as you lift the imaginary beach ball up toward the ceiling. And fold round your spine as you do so. Let your head hang, let your spine lengthen. And then with the next out breath, curl your upper back, reach the crown of your head forward, thoracic extension. And then step back. Few breaths here in yoga pose, head down dog. And then exhale, come on down, all the way down to seated. Let's start off, knees bent, feet flat upon the floor. Press your sitting bones down to lift up through the crown of your head. And keeping that sense of length, where there's just a little bit more space for the intervertebral discs. Keeping that length in your lower back, between the shoulder blades and your upper back, and maintaining, creating that length in your neck, especially the lower part of your neck, where your neck meets your upper back. That's where a lot of people experience compression. And giving all the intervertebral discs plenty of space. Bring your left foot forward. Bring your left arm around to give that leg a hug. Right arm behind, and a little bit of a turn. Now, perhaps you've already noticed that the arm that hugs the knee is internally rotated, isn't it? And you feel how that tends to pull the shoulder forward. So see if you can create more space across that left collarbone, but without overcorrecting and compressing the upper back. And then back in toward the middle, and back to the starting point. Right leg forward. Right arm comes around. Left hand behind. And by nature of hugging the knee, that arm's internally rotated. Feel how the shoulder tends to round forward into the chest. So see if you can find that balancing space across your chest and at the same time spaciousness across your back. And then back in toward the middle. Back to the reset position. First side again. Left foot forward. Left arm across. Right hand behind. So we've talked a bit about what the front arm does. What about that arm back here? Firstly, have your fingertips face toward your screen. Feel how that internally rotates the back arm. And see if you can find that balance point of open back, open chest in both the left side and the right side. And then back in toward the middle. Back to the reset position. So there's good rotator cuff work that goes on in these twists, often underappreciated. Right foot forward. Right arm comes around and gives a hug. Left hand back. By having the backhand fingertips pointing forward in front of you toward the screen, then both arms are internally spiraled. Enjoy the openness that naturally occurs across your upper back, and across your collarbone. And then back in toward the middle. Now make your way onto your back. And on your back with your knees bent, feet flat upon the floor. And just like you started out some time ago now with Colette, lightly draw your shoulders under and find that balancing of space across your chest and at the same time a spaciousness across your upper back. What I like to call win-win alignment. Not closing down one part of the body to open up another part of the body. Keeping that sense of openness across your chest, take your arms up like you were holding that imaginary beach ball. And then from your shoulder sockets, rotate your arms internally, which if you had a beach ball, it would now fall to the floor. And just like you worked on in the 100, bring your arms down. Maybe hovering above the floor, maybe resting upon the floor. Then roll your spine up into shoulder bridge. Roll your spine down. And up and down. And next time you roll your spine up, let's hold there. Making mental note, sensing where your pelvis is, where your feet are. And best you can, keeping your pelvis where it is, best you can, keeping your left foot where it is. As you take your right foot up toward the ceiling. Holding here for kind of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower that foot down, replace it where it originated. Note where your pelvis is, keep it where it is. As you slowly float your left foot up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower that foot down. Replace it where it started. Then to lift your hips up, lift your heels up. You keep your hips lifted up high like they are, and slowly over a count of 5, descend both heels down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact. Recharge the lift of your hips a little higher up toward the ceiling. And then inhale, exhale, roll down. And then a few moments on your back. And then set up and sitting. So it could be on a chair or on a cushion or a stool. Or you could be low tech, right on the floor. No intermediaries needed, directly on the floor. So whichever you've chosen, stool, floor, chair, cushion, root down. A lot of people out there, they're trying to hold their body up from their chest, their neck, and their head. They tend to get really stiff necks and really sore shoulders in the process. root down. And just like the trees in the forest root down so they can stand tall, following that same paradigm. Downward flow rooting creates upward lift. Slightly lengthen this out breath. Normal in breath. So what we're doing here is more or less normal breathing, not deep breathing. And then slightly lengthening the duration of the out breath. Such that over a period of a few breaths, you end up spending more time in the exhale phase than you do in the inhale phase. And this is one of the most effective ways to hack the autonomic nervous system to create a sense of calmness to help reduce stress. To simply spend a little bit more time in the exhale phase than you do in the inhale phase. All right. I think that's our time for the day. So, any questions that came in through the chat? Any comments, any questions? All right then. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We do this every Saturday morning. And please tell your friends, families, coworkers, associates, strangers walking up and down the street. We do this every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Thanks so much. Bye bye.